All right, let's dive into a story that peels back the layers of a seemingly perfect life to reveal a devastating betrayal and ultimately a breathtaking transformation. Get ready because what Zara Johnson experienced is a masterclass in reclaiming power, shattering expectations, and reminding us all that sometimes the greatest burdens are the ones we carry for others. This isn't just about money, it's about self-worth, the quiet strength of resilience, and learning to fly after being told you're just dead weight. Imagine this. You're at one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, the kind where the clinking of champagne glasses mingles with hushed, high-stakes conversations. You've just stepped away from a dinner table, perhaps to touch up your lipstick, and as you stand in the opulent quiet of the restroom, a voice cuts through the elegant silence, a voice you know intimately, a voice that has whispered sweet nothings in your ear for over 2 decades, your husband's voice. But what it says shatters your world. Honestly, bringing Zara to these business dinners is such a burden. The words hang in the air, cold and cruel, echoing not just off the marble walls, but through your very soul. A burden. You, the woman who has stood by him for 23 years, who has hosted countless clients, supported his dreams, and believed in his every ambitious pronouncement. You, the bedrock of his seemingly successful life, reduced to a mere inconvenience. This is Zara's reality, just moments into an evening that was supposed to be about celebrating a new business venture. She hears him, Jonathan, her husband, continue. She just sits there looking pretty while the real players talk business. At least Natalie understands the deals we're making. Natalie, his secretary. Another man's voice, thick with innuendo, chuckles. She's certainly more attentive than most assistants. Jonathan then lays bare a betrayal that cuts deeper than any knife. Natalie gets me in ways Zara never could. She's brilliant with numbers and knows how to handle a real man's needs. A real man's needs. The contempt in his voice, the casual dismissal of her entire existence is like a punch to the gut. He laughs with his friends, a sound that makes her stomach churn, proclaiming her dead weight. All she does, he scoffs, is spend my money and look good at charity events. Zara's hands tremble as she grips her diamond clutch, a gift from Jonathan last Christmas, a token of his supposed appreciation. He had told her she deserved only the finest things. Now he's telling his friends she's worthless. The hypocrisy is suffocating. This scenario isn't just a dramatic plot point. It's a chilling reflection of a far too common experience. How many of us, or people we know, have silently endured partners who diminish our worth, take our contributions for granted, or worse, openly betray us while basking in the glow of our support? It's a profound moment of realization when you discover the person you've invested your heart and soul into sees you as nothing more than a prop or a problem. One of his friends then offers a feeble defense. Your wife does bring in a lot of social connections, though. Her family's money opened a lot of doors for your business. Jonathan's response is swift, dismissive, and utterly devoid of gratitude. Her family's money? That's all she's good for, a pretty face and daddy's inheritance. But Natalie, he insists, she's the future. Smart, ambitious, and she actually contributes to my success instead of just existing on the sidelines. The bathroom door slams, the men returning to their table, leaving Zara to stare at her pale reflection in the golden mirror. Her expensive dress, her perfectly styled hair, it all feels like a costume she's wearing for people who see her as mere decoration. 23 years. 2 decades and more of marriage. 2 decades of building, supporting, believing, all while he was sleeping with his secretary and mocking her behind her back. The weight of that realization would crush most people, but something in Zara shifts. It's a quiet, fierce transformation. She takes a deep breath, fixes her lipstick. Her grandmother's words echo in her mind. A woman's greatest weapon was her mind, not her tears. This is the pivot point. This isn't about wallowing, it's about strategy. This is about showing Jonathan exactly what that burden truly costs when it's lifted. Zara walks back to the table, her composure unwavering. Jonathan is deep in conversation about a new development project. Natalie, in a dress too tight and a smile too bright, is across from him, her fingers dancing across her tablet, her attention fixed solely on Jonathan. "There you are, darling," Jonathan says, not even looking up. "We were just discussing the Peterson contract. Natalie thinks we should restructure the payment terms." "How wonderful," Zara replies, her voice smooth as silk. She reaches for her wine glass, her eyes catching Natalie's, which are still fixated on Jonathan. I'm sure Natalie has many helpful suggestions. Natalie, a flush creeping up her cheeks, manages a professional smile. "I try to stay on top of all the details, Mrs. Chin." And here, Zara delivers the first subtle blow, a quiet assertion of identity that Jonathan had unwittingly allowed her to keep. "Johnson. My name is Johnson." She had never taken his last name, a small act of independence in a marriage where she had seemingly given so much. Tonight, she is grateful for that foresight. This scene is a masterclass in maintaining a facade while planning a revolution. It highlights the quiet power of observation and the insidious nature of emotional manipulation. Jonathan, so absorbed in his ego and the praise of his mistress, completely misses the steel beneath Zara's polite veneer. He sees what he wants to see, a compliant wife. He has no idea he's sitting across from a ticking time bomb. This isn't just about a woman scorned. It's about a woman realizing she's been living a lie. And that lie has come at a tremendous cost to her sense of self, even if her bank account was untouched. For many women, especially those in long-term relationships where they've played supportive roles, the erosion of identity can be gradual, almost imperceptible, until a moment of stark clarity forces them to confront it. Zara's refusal to shed a single tear, her immediate shift to strategic thinking, is a powerful lesson in channeling raw emotion into focused action. It's a testament to the internal strength that can lie dormant, waiting for the right catalyst to ignite it. The dinner drags on with talk of contracts and profit margins, Zara smiling and nodding, her mind racing. Jonathan, of course, believes his wealth is self-made, but Zara knows the truth. Every major deal, every connection, every significant financial backing came from her, her family, or her personal guarantee. He was the face, but she was the engine, the financier, the silent architect. He had built his empire on her foundations. As dessert arrives, Jonathan finally turns to her, feigning concern. "You're quiet tonight, sweetheart. Everything okay?" Zara's reply is chillingly calm. "Perfect. I was just thinking about some changes I need to make." Jonathan laughs, patting her hand patronizingly. "Changes? New decorator for the house? Another charity project?" His business partners chuckle. Natalie hides a smile. They all see her the same way. Pretty, rich, useless. A trophy wife. "Something like that," Zara says, pulling her hand away gently. She stands. "I think I'll head home early. This conversation is giving me a headache." Jonathan offers to drive her, but Zara waves him off. "Stay and finish your meeting. I know how important Natalie's input is to your success." Her voice is honey-sweet, but the steel underneath makes Natalie shift uncomfortably. The message is clear, even if only Zara truly understands its full implication. As Zara walks out, she pulls out her phone and makes 3 quick calls. Driver, lawyer, financial advisor. All are told the same thing: clear their schedules for tomorrow morning. She had work to do. This brings us to a crucial point about preparation and foresight. Zara wasn't caught completely flat-footed because she had years ago put certain protections in place. Many people, particularly women, enter marriages with an unspoken assumption of eternal partnership, neglecting to safeguard their individual financial futures. Zara's decision to keep her maiden name, Johnson, and, as we'll soon discover, her insistence on a robust prenuptial agreement are shining examples of financial independence and self-preservation that are often overlooked until it's too late. Consider the common narrative. A woman marries, sometimes leaving her career or scaling back to support her husband's ambitions, raise a family, or manage the household. Over time, she may become less engaged with the intricate details of their joint finances, trusting her partner implicitly. But what happens when that trust is shattered? Let me tell you about a hypothetical situation, similar to Zara's, but without her financial foresight. Imagine Eleanor, a brilliant artist who put her career on hold to manage her husband David's burgeoning architectural firm. She hosted clients, curated their lavish home, and became his social linchpin. Her own family wealth was substantial, but through years of our money, it was slowly commingled and invested in David's ventures, always under his name for tax efficiency. When David's affair came to light, Eleanor discovered not only a devastating personal betrayal, but a financial one. Without a strong prenup, and with her assets intertwined with his, she faced a lengthy, emotionally draining, and financially ruinous divorce. She had to fight tooth and nail just to reclaim a fraction of what was rightfully hers, not just her inheritance, but her unseen labor that had fueled David's success. Eleanor's story, while fictional, mirrors the plight of countless individuals who lose their financial footing simply because they trusted too deeply and didn't protect themselves. Zara, however, had taken steps. As she drove home, her phone buzzed with texts from her lawyer and financial advisor. Emergency meetings confirmed, divorce papers by noon, asset protection activated. Her mansion, bought with her family's money and kept in her name, awaited. Tomorrow, Jonathan would learn the true cost of taking her for granted. The morning dawns 2 hours before Jonathan's alarm. Zara is already dressed in a sharp navy Armani suit, her grandmother's diamond earrings catching the early light. The hurt from the night before has solidified into unwavering determination. Jonathan, oblivious, snores in their king-sized bed. Zara, however, is clear-eyed and ready. She heads to her home office, a space Jonathan dismissively called her hobby room. He thought she played at being a businesswoman. If only he knew that this room was where she managed investments worth more than his entire company. Zara pulls up files, financial records, legal documents, business contracts. These aren't just papers, they are the undeniable evidence of her true power, the silent contributions that funded Jonathan's entire public facade. At 7 a.m., her lawyer, Richard Blackwood, calls. His voice is concerned. Zara, I have to ask, are you absolutely sure about this? Divorce can be complicated when there's this much money involved. Zara's reply is resolute. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. How quickly can we move? Richard confirms her foresight. The prenup, insisted upon 23 years ago, was ironclad. Jonathan, confident in his own earning potential, had barely glanced at the details, signing away rights to Zara's family inheritance, business interests, and even the house. The only joint assets are the ones you chose to share with him, Richard notes. This is a powerful reminder that financial security in marriage isn't about a lack of love, but a practical recognition of individual histories and futures. It's about being prepared for unforeseen circumstances, safeguarding what you've built, and ensuring that your journey, regardless of a partner's path, remains financially stable. And what about Jonathan's business? This is where it gets truly interesting. Richard, with a note of satisfaction, reveals 87% of his company's funding came from loans backed by your personal guarantee. You can call those loans at any time. Zara had forgotten. She had signed those papers over the years, trusting her husband, believing they were building something together. Now, with a cold resolve, she says, "Call them." Richard warns, "Zara, that will bankrupt his company within 30 days. Her response? "Good, what else?" The list unfolds, a testament to Jonathan's breathtaking dependence. The house, cars, country club memberships, investment accounts, even his beloved yacht, all either in her name or purchased with her money. His salary, while good, was never enough to sustain the extravagant lifestyle he had grown accustomed to. He had been living off her generosity, her trust, and her wealth, all while calling her a burden. Then comes the final damning revelation. Richard's preliminary investigation into Jonathan's affair with Natalie, hotel receipts charged to company accounts, expensive gifts during business hours, business trips that included only the two of them, financial misconduct, embezzlement most likely, Richard states. Using company funds for personal entertainment is a serious matter, especially since you're the primary investor in his company. A cold satisfaction washes over Zara. This isn't just about betrayal, it's about outright theft. He didn't just hurt her heart, he stole from her pocket. This elevates Jonathan's actions from personal failing to criminal behavior, fundamentally altering the narrative and the legal stakes. This underscores the critical importance of understanding your financial footprint, even within a marriage. Many women, unfortunately, are not just victims of emotional or physical abuse, but also financial abuse, where their partners control, manipulate, or outright steal their assets, leaving them vulnerable and dependent. Zara's situation is a stark reminder that even with significant wealth, vigilance is paramount. Her journey illustrates the transition from passive trust to active protection. It also showcases the power of having a strong legal and financial team. Richard and Patricia are not just service providers, they are her strategic allies, her bulwark against a man who sought to exploit her trust. Her second meeting at 9 a.m. is with Patricia Wells, her financial advisor of 40 years. Patricia, who has watched Zara grow from a trust fund baby into a serious businesswoman, greets her with a knowing smile. "I've been waiting for this day, not because I wanted your marriage to fail, but because you've been hiding your light under a bushel for too long." Patricia pulls out a thick folder, revealing Zara's true financial might. A personal investment portfolio that has grown by 340% in 5 years. A foundation that has helped thousands of women start businesses. "You've quietly become one of the most successful investors in the city," Patricia says, "but you let Jonathan take credit for your financial acumen." Zara stares at the numbers. Personal liquid assets, $700 million. Investment properties, $300 million. Business partnerships and trust funds, close to $2 billion. The room spins. Zara had always known her family had money, but she had never calculated her own worth. She had been living like Jonathan's dependent when she could have bought his entire company without denting her bank account. "What does Jonathan have without me?" Zara asks. Patricia's smile is sharp. "His company, which is mortgaged against your assets. His salary, which is good but not spectacular. His reputation, which depends largely on your social connections. Take away your backing and he's a middle management executive with expensive taste and no way to pay for it." They spend the next 2 hours moving money into untouchable international investments and offshore holdings. By lunchtime, Zara has transformed from a trophy wife into a financial fortress. Jonathan remains blissfully unaware. This unveiling of Zara's true wealth is a seismic moment. It highlights the often invisible labor and acumen of women, especially those in supportive roles. Zara wasn't just a rich socialite. She was a financial powerhouse who chose to remain in the background, allowing her husband to bask in the spotlight. This decision, while born of love and loyalty, ultimately obscured her true capabilities and made her vulnerable to his condescension. It also brings up a critical point about gender dynamics in wealth and business. Many successful women, whether through inheritance or self-made fortune, often find their achievements downplayed or attributed to others, especially male partners. Zara's experience is a powerful rebuke to the notion that a woman's value is purely aesthetic or social, rather than intellectual or financial. Patricia's line, "hiding your light under a bushel," perfectly encapsulates this phenomenon. Let's consider another hypothetical scenario. A woman named Lena, a brilliant software engineer who married into an old money family. Her husband, Mark, came from a background where men managed the family's traditional businesses, and women were expected to manage the social calendar and philanthropy. Lena, out of respect and a desire to fit in, initially played that role, even as her personal investments in tech startups silently ballooned, often exceeding the returns of Mark's more conservative family ventures. Mark, much like Jonathan, would subtly take credit for their overall financial health in social circles, never acknowledging Lena's quiet genius. When their marriage faced challenges, Lena's independent financial empire not only secured her freedom, but allowed her to launch her own successful venture capital firm, focusing on underrepresented founders. Her story, like Zara's, emphasizes that a woman's true power often lies beyond the public narrative crafted by others. Zara returns home to find Jonathan on the phone, likely with Natalie, his flirtatious tone grating. She doesn't listen. Instead, she packs, not everything, just the important things. Her grandmother's jewelry, personal documents, clothes she actually loved. Richard texts, "Papers ready. When do you want to serve them?" Zara looks around the bedroom she shared for 2 decades, the California king bed, the walk-in closet, the balcony where they dreamed of growing old. It all feels empty, like a museum. "Tomorrow at his office," she types back. "Make sure Natalie is there to see it." If he wanted to call her a burden, she would show him the true cost of losing her. And Natalie, his future, would have a front-row seat to his empire's collapse. The evening that follows is a chilling portrait of Zara's control. She makes dinner, listens to Jonathan complain, plays the part of the devoted wife. He drones on about Natalie's brilliance, even musing about promoting her to partner. She deserves it. Natalie puts in the work, you know. She's dedicated to the company's success. Then, the ultimate insult. Not everyone has that kind of drive. Zara sets down her fork. "What kind of drive do you think I have, Jonathan?" He blinks, surprised. "Well, you have your charity work. That's important too. Different kind of contribution. Social stuff, hosting events, networking with other wives." He waves his hand, vaguely, dismissing her. Even now, after all she'd learned, he sees her as a mere socialite. "I see," she says quietly. "And you think Natalie contributes more to your success than I do?" Jonathan backpedals, sensing danger. There are different types of contributions. You do your thing, she does hers. "My thing," Zara repeats, her voice dangerously calm. "Supporting your business ventures with my money, introducing you to clients through my connections, and guaranteeing your loans with my assets. That thing?" Jonathan's face goes pale. "How do you know about the loan guarantees?" "I signed them, Jonathan. Did you think I was too stupid to remember?" He tries to protest, but Zara cuts him off. "Don't insult my intelligence by lying now. I heard you last night, every word." The color drains from his face. "I heard you call me a burden. I heard you praise Natalie for being everything you think I'm not. I heard you laughing about how I just spend your money and look good at charity events." He whimpers about guy talk, out of context. But Zara is unyielding. The context is that you've been having an affair with your secretary while telling your friends that your wife is dead weight. Is there some other context I should consider? His shoulders sag. "How long have you known?" "Does it matter? The question is, how long has it been going on?" 2 years, he whispered. "Maybe 3. 3 years of lies. 3 years of his betrayal." "Do you love her?" Zara asks, her voice surprisingly steady. Jonathan looks up, regret in his eyes. "I don't know, I think so. She makes me feel important, successful, like a real man." "And I make you feel what exactly?" Zara presses. A long pause. "Comfortable, safe, like everything will always be okay because you'll take care of it." Zara almost laughs, a bitter sound. "So, Natalie makes you feel like a success, and I make you feel secure, and somehow you decided that meant I was a burden instead of a blessing? I never meant for you to get hurt." "You never thought about me at all," Zara corrects. "If you had, you might have realized that the woman who makes you feel safe and takes care of everything might be worth keeping around." She walks toward the door. "I'll be staying in the guest room tonight. And Jonathan, tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day for you." This dinner scene is a masterclass in controlled confrontation. Zara doesn't erupt. She dismantles. She exposes his hypocrisy, not with tears, but with facts, with his own words. His excuses, guy talk, out of context, are classic deflection tactics used by those caught in their lies. This is a critical lesson for anyone facing betrayal. Emotional outbursts, while understandable, often detract from your message. Calm, factual presentation, coupled with undeniable evidence, is far more potent. Zara's questions are surgical, slicing through his flimsy defenses and forcing him to confront the reality of his own actions and his distorted perception of their relationship. The quiet power of Zara's departure, leaving him to stew in the enormity of his revelations, is profoundly impactful. It's not about revenge in the petty sense, but about the profound justice of revealing truth and reclaiming agency. It's a testament to the internal work she did from that moment in the bathroom, transforming hurt into clarity and strategic resolve. Zara climbs the stairs to the guest room, finally allowing herself to feel the weight of 23 years ending, not with a bang, but with a quiet realization that the man she loved had never truly seen her. She calls her cousin Amelia and pours out the story. Amelia, listening without judgment, offers wisdom. You get to find out who you really are without someone else's expectations weighing you down. I'm scared, Zara admits. I've been Mrs. Jonathan Chin for so long. I'm not sure I remember how to be just Zara Johnson. Then it's time to remember, Amelia insists. And Zara, the woman who built a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio while her husband thought she was just writing charity checks, is someone worth rediscovering. This raw moment of vulnerability, despite her fierce resolve, is incredibly important. Even the strongest individuals feel fear when facing such monumental life changes. It's the admission of that fear, coupled with the determination to push through it, that defines true courage. Amelia's role here is also crucial, the supportive friend or family member who reminds you of your inherent worth when you've been made to forget it. It's a reminder for all of us to seek out those voices of affirmation in times of crisis. Zara sits in the unfamiliar bedroom looking at her reflection. Tomorrow, she would serve Jonathan divorce papers in front of his colleagues and his mistress. Tomorrow, she would begin reclaiming her life. But tonight, she mourned the marriage she thought she was living and the woman she had been. She was done being a burden. It was time to remember how to fly. The next morning, Zara is again awake before dawn. Her team's messages confirm the legal and financial preparations. Her private investigator, Helena Barnes, sends a damning report. Photos of Jonathan and Natalie at expensive restaurants, in luxury hotels, kissing in the office parking garage. But the most destructive evidence lies in the financial records. Company credit card charges for romantic getaways, expensive jewelry, lavish dinners billed as business expenses, embezzlement, using her investment money to finance his affair. Helena then drops another bombshell. Jonathan has been inflating project costs and pocketing the difference. The Peterson contract, the one Natalie had supposedly saved, was padded by 30%. For at least 5 years, he had been systematically stealing from his own company, and by extension, from Zara, its primary investor. A conservative estimate, over $2 million stolen from her while he complained about her charity spending. I want everything documented, Zara demands. Every receipt, every charge, every inflated contract. I want a case so airtight that his own lawyers will advise him to settle quickly. This revelation of further financial malfeasance adds another layer of villainy to Jonathan's character. It moves him beyond simple infidelity to outright criminality, a profound breach of not just marital trust, but business ethics. For Zara, it confirms the depravity of his actions and hardens her resolve. The initial shock of betrayal now morphs into a colder, righteous fury, fueled by the sheer audacity of his theft while simultaneously demeaning her. The meticulous documentation Helena is preparing is key here. In legal battles, especially those involving substantial wealth and complex business dealings, concrete evidence trumps emotional arguments. This highlights the importance of keeping detailed records, even when you trust your partner, because you never know when those records might become your strongest defense or your most powerful weapon. Imagine for a moment the story of Michael, a successful venture capitalist. He prides himself on being a shrewd businessman. However, he's always had an eye for lavish spending that often exceeded his declared income. His wife, Sarah, a quiet but insightful artist, handled their personal expenses but trusted Michael implicitly with their joint business ventures. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Michael had been engaging in creative accounting within his various companies, skimming profits off client projects and funneling them into offshore accounts, funding a secret life. Sarah, through a chance encounter with a disgruntled former employee of Michael's, began to uncover the truth. She worked quietly, gathering evidence, emails, internal memos, bank statements she never knew existed, building an undeniable case. When she finally confronted Michael with the evidence, he tried to gaslight her, but the sheer volume and detail of her findings left him speechless. Sarah's story, like Zara's, illustrates that vigilance and careful documentation can uncover deep-seated corruption, protecting not only individual finances, but potentially exposing broader unethical practices. Zara drives to her lawyer's office to review the divorce papers one final time. Jonathan would keep his personal items, his car, and whatever meager salary his company paid after she withdrew her backing. Everything else, the house, investments, business interests, luxury items, remained hers. Richard warns that Jonathan might try to claim he contributed to building her wealth, but Zara is ready. I have 23 years of financial records showing that every major asset was purchased with my money or my family's money. He never even co-signed on most of the investments. Richard grimly acknowledges his lawyers are going to have a very difficult time building a case for him. At 11 a.m., Zara arrives at Jonathan's office building. She's been here hundreds of times, always as the elegant boss's wife. Today, she is something much more powerful. The process server awaits. As she walks through the hallways, nodding to employees who greet her warmly, none of them know that their paychecks depend on her continued financial backing. Through the glass walls of Jonathan's office, she sees him with 4 potential investors, and Natalie, in that too-tight red dress, gazing adoringly at him. Jonathan is clearly trying to expand his business without relying on his wife's money. Too late. Zara waits until the investors leave, then approaches them, her warmest smile in place. Mr. Patterson, Mrs. Goldman, how lovely to see you both. I hope Jonathan is treating you well. They beam, discussing the Peterson project's success. Yes, that was quite profitable, Zara agrees smoothly. Of course, most of Jonathan's successful projects have been backed by my family's investment firm. We've been so proud to support his vision. She lets that sink in, watching the investors exchange glances. In their world, family money means stability and connections. Well, Mrs. Goldman says carefully, it's always wise to have solid financial backing for ambitious projects. Absolutely, Zara agrees, though I'm afraid my investment priorities are shifting somewhat. I'm focusing more on supporting women-owned businesses and sustainable development projects, different directions than Jonathan's current interests. The message is clear. The Johnson family money is gone. The investors, savvy enough to understand the implications, leave less enthusiastically. This pre-confrontation maneuver is brilliant. Zara doesn't just serve papers. She strategically undermines Jonathan's professional credibility before the legal documents are even delivered. By subtly hinting at the withdrawal of her family's financial backing, she sows seeds of doubt among potential investors, effectively cutting off his future funding sources. This is a powerful demonstration of how reputation and perceived backing are as crucial as actual capital in the business world. It also signifies Zara's shift from being a passive supporter to an active, discerning investor with her own priorities and vision. As they depart, Zara walks toward Jonathan's office, seeing him kiss Natalie's cheek through the glass. The process server appears. "Ready, Mrs. Johnson?" "More than ready," Zara replies. She knocks, then walks in without waiting. Jonathan looks up, surprised, his hand still on Natalie's shoulder. "Zara, what are you doing here?" "Jonathan Chin," the process server announces formally, stepping into the office. "You are being served with divorce papers and a cease and desist order regarding the misuse of Johnson family investment funds." The blood drains from Jonathan's face. Natalie's eyes go wide. "Divorce papers?" she whispers. "But you said you were separated. You said she knew about us." "Did he?" Zara asks pleasantly. "How interesting." "No, Miss Williams. I only learned about you 2 nights ago when I overheard my husband telling his friends what a burden I was and how much more valuable you are to his success." Natalie looks like she wants to disappear. Employees gather outside, sensing the drama. "I also learned some fascinating things about company finances," Zara continues, her voice calm and professional. "Helena Barnes, my private investigator, has documented extensive evidence of embezzlement and financial misconduct. The district attorney's office will be receiving copies of that evidence this afternoon. Jonathan's hands shake as he tries to open the documents. Zara, we can talk about this at home. You don't need to. I'm afraid there's nothing to discuss. Zara interrupts. You called me a burden, Jonathan, so I'm lifting that burden. You no longer have access to my money, my connections, my support, or my patience. She turns to Natalie, who clutches her tablet like a shield. Miss Williams, I hope you're prepared to support Jonathan on your secretary's salary, because as of this moment, his company has 30 days to repay the loans I guaranteed, all $7 million of them. Natalie's face goes white. $7 million. Didn't he tell you? Zara asks, a sardonic smile playing on her lips. Jonathan's entire business empire is built on my family's money. Take that away and he's just another middle-aged man with expensive taste and no way to pay for it. As Zara walks toward the door, she turns back. Oh, and Jonathan, the house, the cars, the yacht, and the country club memberships are all in my name. You have until Friday to collect your personal belongings. After that, you'll need to find somewhere else to live. She leaves, Jonathan's panicked voice rising behind her. Employees in the hallway step aside, their expressions a mix of shock and awe. In the elevator, Zara allows herself a small smile of satisfaction. The burden had been lifted, and gravity was about to teach Jonathan some very expensive lessons about taking people for granted. This was only the beginning. This public confrontation is a cathartic explosion of truth. Zara orchestrates it to be devastatingly effective, ensuring that Jonathan's professional and personal lives crumble simultaneously and publicly. By doing so, she not only reclaims her own narrative, but sends a powerful message about accountability. Natalie's naive belief in Jonathan's lies underscores the manipulative nature of infidelity, where the other person is often fed a distorted version of reality. Zara's precise and unyielding articulation of Jonathan's financial dependence is a stark and irrefutable blow, demonstrating that his perceived success was merely a facade built on her wealth. Immediately, Zara's phone buzzes with Jonathan's desperate calls and texts, but she ignores them. Movers are already at the mansion, discreetly packing her belongings. Her destination, a penthouse on Fifth Avenue, a property she had purchased years ago as an investment, never imagining it would become her refuge. Then, Natalie calls from Jonathan's office, her voice shaking. Mrs. Johnson, please, I need to talk to you. Jonathan is having some kind of breakdown. Zara corrects her coolly. Johnson, please. Natalie describes the chaos. Jonathan locked in his office, investors asking questions about the loans. Tell them the truth, Miss Williams, Zara advises, watching her grandmother's china being wrapped. The Johnson family is withdrawing financial support from the company. All loan guarantees are being called in immediately. But that will bankrupt the company, Natalie cries. Yes, it will, Zara responds, her voice pleasant. Perhaps you should have considered that before you decided to have an affair with a married man whose business depended on his wife's money. Natalie, now sobbing, claims she didn't know how much of the business was Zara's money, that Jonathan made himself sound like a self-made entrepreneur. And you believed him because it was convenient to believe him, Zara retorts, just like it was convenient to sleep with him while he was married to someone else. Natalie still tries to cling to the lie. I thought you two were separated. He said you were just staying together for appearances. Zara almost laughs. Miss Williams, did you think the wife who was just staying for appearances would be hosting dinner parties at our home, attending business functions as his loving partner, taking weekend trips together just last month? Natalie sobs again. He said those were obligations, that you two were just going through the motions. Well, now you know the truth, Zara concludes. Jonathan is a liar who is stealing from his wife to impress his secretary. And now both of you are going to face the consequences. Zara hangs up and immediately calls Patricia, her financial advisor, to formalize the loan recalls. Then her social secretary, Carol, to sever all ties between the Johnson Foundation and Jonathan Chin's organizations, and to cancel his country club membership, which was dependent on hers. Just say that due to personal circumstances, the Johnson family can no longer extend membership privileges to Mr. Chin. They'll figure out the rest. Within 2 hours, Zara's phone is ringing off the hook. Word has spread like wildfire in their exclusive social circle. She selectively answers calls from key influencers, carefully controlling the narrative, letting just the right amount of hurt creep into her voice as she reveals Jonathan's affair and embezzlement. The hardest part is learning that he's been using my investment money to finance his affair, taking my trust and turning it into a weapon against our marriage. By evening, Jonathan Chin is no longer seen as a successful businessman. He is a cheater and a thief who betrayed the woman whose money had built his entire lifestyle. This period of public unraveling demonstrates Zara's masterful command of narrative and influence. She doesn't just dismantle Jonathan's financial empire, she systematically dismantles his social standing and reputation, which in their elite world is often more devastating. Her strategic calls to influencers are a testament to her deep understanding of their social ecosystem and how to leverage it. It's not vindictive gossip. It's a deliberate act of truth-telling that holds Jonathan accountable on every front. Natalie's breakdown and her continued attempts to justify her actions, even in the face of undeniable truth, highlights the deep self-deception that often accompanies infidelity. She wanted to believe Jonathan's lies because it validated her choices, making her a complicit participant in the deception. As Zara settles into her new penthouse, Jonathan calls, his voice defeated. "Zara, please, we need to talk. This is getting out of hand." "Is it getting out of hand, or is it finally getting to the truth?" she counters. "You're destroying everything I've worked for," he pleads. "I'm not destroying anything, Jonathan. I'm simply taking back what was mine to begin with. You worked for those things using my money, my connections, and my support. Take those away, and what's left?" 23 years of marriage, he says, clinging to a last straw. That has to count for something. It did count for something. It counted for my loyalty, my trust, and my love, all of which you threw away for a woman who thought you were successful enough to risk her job for. He tries to defend Natalie, but Zara cuts him off. Natalie knew exactly what she was doing, just like you knew exactly what you were risking when you decided to call me a burden and steal from me to impress her. I never meant for you to hear that conversation. No, Zara agrees. You just meant to say those things about me behind my back while taking my money and sleeping in my bed. Tell me, Jonathan, which part of that was supposed to make me feel better? A long silence. "What do you want?" he asks, his voice broken. "I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I want you to realize that the woman you called a burden was actually the foundation that your entire life was built on. And I want you to learn what it's like to stand on your own without anyone else holding you up." When he warns that the company will go bankrupt, she offers a final cutting suggestion. "Then you'd better figure out how to get $7 million in 30 days. I hear Natalie is good with numbers. Maybe she can help." Zara hangs up and walks to the floor-to-ceiling windows of her new apartment. The city sparkles below, full of possibilities. For the first time in years, she feels like herself again, not someone's wife, not someone's burden, but Zara Johnson, successful businesswoman and philanthropist. Her reflection shows a younger woman, her eyes brighter, shoulders straighter, smile more genuine. This conversation with Jonathan is the final severing of emotional ties. Zara's words are precise, devoid of anger, but filled with a chilling clarity. She refuses to allow him to victimize himself or minimize the gravity of his actions. This conversation is not for his benefit, but for hers, a final articulation of her truth and the boundaries she is setting. The image of her at her penthouse window, liberated and looking to the future, is a powerful symbol of self-reclamation. It's a testament to the fact that endings can also be spectacular new beginnings, especially when you are the sole author of your next chapter. The next day, Zara meets with Patricia to discuss new investment opportunities, expanding her foundation, a program to help women leave toxic relationships, a hotel chain, tech startups run by brilliant women. The possibilities are endless when you control your own destiny. She raises her glass in a toast to new beginnings and to learning exactly how much a burden weighs when it's lifted. 3 days after serving the divorce papers, Zara is in her new office, reviewing reports from Helena. Jonathan's financial misconduct is even worse, systematically overcharging clients, nearly $400,000 in fraudulent billing on the Peterson contract alone. He would invoice Zara for project costs, then negotiate lower actual costs with contractors, pocketing the savings. He was stealing from her and from his clients. Carol, Zara's social secretary, calls with news from the country club. Jonathan showed up for his weekly golf game, only to be told his membership was suspended. He caused a scene, yelling about his 15 years of membership. When informed his access was through Zara's family corporate account, he declared Zara had no right to cut him off. Mr. Morrison, a board member, told him pointedly that estranged wives have every right to discontinue benefits they were providing to unfaithful husbands. Half the dining room heard. Jonathan's social life, a cornerstone of his business, is over. Helena adds that 3 major clients have canceled contracts, word of the embezzlement spreading. His company is barely holding on. Natalie is in over her head, crying at her desk, making mistakes. She's even heard from her ex-boyfriend, who called her an idiot for leaving a stable relationship for a broke married man, and from her mother, who was disappointed that Natalie had thrown away her reputation for a man who couldn't even afford to take care of her. Zara feels a pang of something akin to pity, but it quickly dissipates. Natalie knew Jonathan was married, participated in the misuse of company funds, and silently listened to him mock his wife. Consequences. Jonathan, meanwhile, is desperate. Banks have turned him down for emergency loans. He even tried to bribe Amelia, Zara's cousin, with a 20% stake in his now bankrupt company if she could convince Zara to withdraw the divorce papers. Amelia's response, 20% of nothing is still nothing, before hanging up. Patricia calls with the final blow. Jonathan's company has officially defaulted on its loan payments. The bank is seizing all company assets tomorrow. Jonathan Chin Enterprises will be officially bankrupt by the end of the week. Justice, Zara realizes, is swift when you control the purse strings. Jonathan will be jobless, his reputation ruined, lucky to find work as a junior associate somewhere. This phase of Jonathan's downfall is both inevitable and meticulously executed by Zara. It demonstrates the compounding effect of unethical behavior and how quickly a house of cards collapses when its foundation is removed. The public humiliation, the financial ruin, and the abandonment by Natalie and even his own family illustrate the isolation that often accompanies profound betrayal. Natalie's suffering, while not on the same scale as Jonathan's, serves as a powerful reminder that complicity also carries a heavy price, often in the form of ruined reputation and personal regret. The sheer speed of the collapse underscores the fragility of success built on deceit and dependency. Zara meets Amelia for dinner, looking 10 years younger. "Freedom agrees with me," Zara corrects. She muses, "For 23 years I worried about Jonathan's happiness, Jonathan's success, Jonathan's reputation. I built my entire life around supporting his dreams and making him feel important, and the whole time he saw me as a burden." "His loss," Amelia says firmly. "You're brilliant, successful, and generous. Any man would be lucky to have your support. The difference is," Zara adds, "the next man I date will have to bring something to the table besides good looks and charm. I'm not interested in being anyone's financial safety net ever again." Helena texts, Jonathan tried to contact 3 of Zara's major clients, offering his services as an independent contractor. All 3 called to report the contact and confirm their loyalty to Zara. His reputation is completely destroyed. "Some people never learn," Zara observes, "but that's okay. The lesson is about to get much clearer." 2 weeks into the divorce proceedings, Jonathan's lawyer offers a settlement, 60% of marital assets in exchange for dropping embezzlement charges. Zara scoffs. "What marital assets? Everything we owned was purchased with my money or my family's money." Jonathan, still deluded, claims emotional support, social networking, and business advice as contributions, arguing his stable presence allowed her to take financial risks. He thinks being married to me entitles him to half of my family inheritance and business success? Zara asks, incredulous. He even claims emotional abuse, saying Zara used her wealth to control him. That's ridiculous, Zara retorts. I supported every business venture he wanted to try, backed every investment he suggested, and never questioned his spending. No settlement, Zara says firmly. I want this to go to trial. I want every detail of his affair and embezzlement to become public record. Richard warns of the scrutiny. Good. Let them scrutinize my finances and my character. Then let them compare that to Jonathan's secret affair and financial theft. Discovery reveals a woman who consistently supported her husband while building her own philanthropic empire. Jonathan's team finds nothing to support their claims. Helena uncovers more. Bank transfers from business to Jonathan's personal accounts, credit card statements for romantic dinners and hotels coinciding with his affair. Richard confirms the evidence is overwhelming, but Jonathan's lawyer is still pushing the emotional contribution angle, bringing in witnesses, business associates, mutual friends, and even Natalie, to testify about what a devoted husband he was, claiming Zara was emotionally cold. Then I'll have my own witnesses, Zara states, 23 years of friends, family, and employees who can testify about what kind of wife and person I actually am. Just before depositions, Helena calls with urgent news. 3 former employees have come forward with emails, texts, and recorded phone calls proving Jonathan knew exactly what he was doing when he inflated project costs. He even tried to get them to lie about financial records. One employee, suspicious, recorded hours of conversations where Jonathan explicitly discussed hiding the theft from Zara and auditors. This is the smoking gun. But the most devastating blow comes from Natalie. She requests a private meeting with Richard, without Jonathan or his lawyer present. Richard reports she sounds desperate and scared. They meet. Natalie looks terrible, thin, pale, exhausted. I need to tell you the truth, she says. Jonathan lied about everything, the marriage, the separation, the business finances. He told me you two were already divorced, that you were cold and controlling and had agreed to let him see other people. But you knew that wasn't true, Zara says quietly. Natalie nods miserably. I suspected it wasn't true, especially after I met you at company events. But I wanted to believe him because I was in love with him. What changed your mind? Richard asks. Yesterday, he asked me to lie in court. He wanted me to testify that you were emotionally abusive and that he was afraid to leave you because you controlled all the money. Natalie pulls out her phone, showing them damning text messages. Jonathan bragging about manipulating Zara, calling her stupid and gullible for trusting him with her money. Then, another revelation. He also has another girlfriend, someone he met after we started having problems. He's been telling her the same lies he told me. Are you willing to testify to all of this in court? Richard asks. Yes. I know I made terrible choices, but I won't help him steal from the woman whose money he used to seduce me. That's too much even for me. This detailed legal battle is crucial to Zara's journey. It highlights the insidious nature of Jonathan's gaslighting and manipulation, not just of Zara, but of Natalie as well. His attempts to twist the narrative, portraying himself as the victim and Zara as the aggressor, are classic tactics used by perpetrators of financial and emotional abuse. However, Zara's steadfast insistence on truth and her meticulous evidence gathering become her shield and sword. Natalie's eventual testimony, while driven by her own desperation and a twisted sense of self-preservation, provides critical corroboration. It exposes Jonathan's pattern of deceit across multiple relationships and financial dealings, ensuring his complete downfall. This part of the story emphasizes that sometimes true justice requires a full, unvarnished public airing of the facts, even if it's painful. Richard confirms, with Natalie's testimony and the recorded evidence, Jonathan's case falls apart. Within 24 hours, Jonathan's lawyer calls with a new offer. Jonathan will accept the prenup and drop all claims if Zara doesn't press criminal charges for embezzlement. No, Zara says without hesitation. He stole from me, lied to me, and tried to destroy my reputation in court. He can face the consequences of his choices. Despite the cost and time, Zara is resolved. I want Jonathan to understand that stealing from people has real consequences, not just financial inconvenience. The trial is scheduled for 6 months later, but Zara knows she has already won. Her reputation is intact, her wealth secure, her future entirely her own. Jonathan had called her a burden, but he was about to learn that the heaviest burden of all was living with the consequences of your own choices. 6 months later, Zara sits in her penthouse office. The legal proceedings are finished. She won decisively on every front. The embezzlement charges are moving forward. Her reputation stronger than ever. More importantly, she has rediscovered who she is. The Johnson Foundation has expanded, providing microloans to women, funding legal aid for those leaving abusive relationships, and supporting financial literacy. In 6 months, they've helped over 500 women achieve financial independence. Patricia Wells arrives for their weekly investment review. Your portfolio is up another 12% this quarter. The tech investments you made in women-led startups are particularly strong. Zara had deliberately invested in women entrepreneurs, brilliant, capable leaders, underestimated by traditional investors. Their success is deeply gratifying. Patricia reveals new opportunities. 3 venture capital firms want Zara as a partner. Zara considers it, then offers, "Not as a partner, but I might be interested in starting my own venture capital firm focused exclusively on women-owned businesses." Patricia's eyes light up. $50 to $100 million initially. Zara barely hesitates. "Let's do it. Start drawing up the business plan." Helena texts, "Jonathan's sentencing hearing is next month. Prosecutors recommend 18 months plus restitution. It seems light for stealing over $2 million, but Zara is satisfied. Jonathan will have a criminal record forever." Jonathan's company dissolved. Natalie moved back to Ohio, working as a receptionist. Her reputation destroyed. Jonathan is in a studio apartment, surviving on unemployment. He tried to get jobs, but his reputation preceded him. He tried to contact Zara multiple times, even showing up at their old house. Zara feels a mix of vindication and distant sadness for the man she once loved. This period of Zara's life demonstrates the profound difference between surviving and thriving. She doesn't just recover. She actively builds a new, more meaningful empire rooted in her own values and experiences. Her strategic investments in women-led businesses are not just financially astute, they are a powerful act of empowerment, turning her past pain into a purpose that elevates others. This is the true essence of reclaiming her identity and leveraging her immense power for good. The contrast with Jonathan's continued downfall emphasizes the long-term, self-perpetuating nature of consequences, particularly when character flaws are not addressed. That evening, Zara meets Amelia for their weekly dinner. "You look happy," Amelia observes, "really genuinely happy." "I am happy," Zara realizes. "For the first time in decades, I'm making decisions based on what I want, instead of what someone else needs from me." "Any regrets?" "I regret wasting so much time trying to be the perfect wife for someone who didn't value what I was offering, but I don't regret ending things when I did. Every day I stayed would have been another day of living a lie." Then, a handsome man approaches, Dr. Marcus Rivera, a prominent surgeon. He thanks Zara for the foundation's support of his medical training program. Amelia, with a knowing smile, encourages him to join them. Marcus is intelligent, successful in his own right, genuinely interested in Zara's thoughts, and not intimidated by her wealth. They discuss business, social issues, shared interests. When Marcus excuses himself, Amelia leans across the table. "He's interested in you. That man has been looking for excuses to talk to you for months." Marcus returns. "Mrs. Johnson, I was wondering if you would be interested in having dinner sometime to discuss some ideas I have for expanding the medical training program." Zara smiles, recognizing the invitation for what it is. "I think that would be very productive, Dr. Rivera. I'm free next Friday if that works for you." "Perfect. I'll call your office to arrange the details." As he walks away, Amelia practically bounces. "Your first date as a free woman." "It's not a date. It's a business meeting." "It's totally a date. And he's perfect for you. Successful, charitable, and clearly smitten." Zara feels a flutter of excitement. For the first time since her divorce, she's genuinely interested in getting to know someone new, not because she needs a man, but because she wants a partnership with someone who sees her as an equal. You know what the best part is? Zara says as they leave. Whether it's a date or a business meeting, I'm going because I want to, not because someone expects me to. That's what freedom feels like. This introduction of Marcus is a crucial element of Zara's new chapter. He represents a stark contrast to Jonathan, embodying the kind of respectful, reciprocal partnership Zara now desires. Their interaction is built on mutual intellectual engagement and shared values, rather than financial dependency or an ego-driven dynamic. It symbolizes Zara's complete liberation, the ability to choose a partner who appreciates her for her authentic self, rather than for a role she plays or for what she can provide. This is about finding love and companionship that enhances, rather than diminishes, her self-worth and independence. A year after that terrible dinner, Zara stands in a ballroom, surrounded by 500 guests celebrating the second anniversary of Johnson Ventures. Her firm has made 47 investments, with average returns of 42%, creating over 3,000 jobs. People told me I was taking a risk by focusing exclusively on female entrepreneurs, she tells the crowd. They said women were too emotional, too risk-averse. She smiles. Those same people are now asking me to teach them how to identify the opportunities they've been missing by overlooking half the talent pool. Zara greets Sarah Mitchell, an engineer whose revolutionary water filtration system received Johnson Ventures' first investment. We just landed a contract to provide clean water systems for refugee camps in 3 countries. None of it would have been possible without your initial investment and mentorship. Stories like Sarah's are why Zara loves her work. She's changing lives. Dr. Marcus Rivera approaches with 2 glasses of champagne, the smile Zara has come to love. Their relationship has deepened. Where her marriage was about Jonathan taking, her relationship with Marcus is built on mutual respect and shared values. He asks about her day, her work, and she asks about his. Successful 8-year-old girl with a congenital heart defect. She'll live a completely normal life now. This is why she fell in love with Marcus. He celebrates her achievements while pursuing his own meaningful career. Then, Marcus reveals, I've been offered a position heading the pediatric cardiac surgery department at Seattle Children's Hospital. A huge opportunity, but it means moving across the country. Zara feels her heart skip. What do you want to do? She asks quietly. I want to take the job, Marcus says honestly. It's everything I've worked toward. But I also don't want to lose what we have. Zara's divorce taught her the biggest risk was not taking risks at all. Then take the job, she says. Marcus's face falls, thinking it's over. Did I say that? Zara smiles. Johnson Ventures has been looking to expand to the West Coast. Seattle has an incredible tech scene. Maybe it's time for me to open a second office. Marcus's expression transforms to pure joy. Are you serious? You would move to Seattle? I would move to Seattle. My business is portable. My foundation can operate from anywhere. And I've learned that life is too short to let geography get in the way of happiness. He pulls her into his arms, right there in the middle of the party. I love you, Zara Johnson, he says. I love you too, Dr. Rivera, she replies, not caring who is watching. This is what partnership feels like. 2 successful people choosing to build something together without either sacrificing individual dreams. This climax of Zara's new life narrative beautifully ties together all the themes. Her decision to expand her business to Seattle for Marcus is not a compromise of her independence, but an expression of it. She is choosing this path, integrating her thriving career with her fulfilling personal life on her own terms. It signifies that true partnership is about mutual support and shared ambition, where love doesn't diminish individual identity, but amplifies it. This is the antithesis of her marriage to Jonathan, and the powerful culmination of her journey from burden to boundless freedom. Later, on the terrace, Zara reflects on her life. Somewhere, Jonathan is working at an accounting firm, making restitution payments, his luxury life a distant memory. She feels no animosity, just a distant sadness for the man who destroyed both their marriage and his own future out of fear of her success. Marcus joins her. Thinking about the past? Thinking about how different my life is now. Any regrets? I regret the time I wasted trying to be someone I wasn't. I regret not recognizing my own worth sooner. But I don't regret the path that led me here. Even the painful parts, especially the painful parts. If Jonathan hadn't called me a burden, I might never have learned how strong I was without him. Marcus wraps his arms around her. You know what the best part is? Zara asks. For the first time in my adult life, I'm exactly where I want to be with someone who sees me exactly as I am. No pretending, no compromising, no making myself smaller to make someone else comfortable. Good, Marcus says, because the woman I fell in love with is pretty incredible exactly as she is. 6 months later, Zara is in her new Seattle office overlooking Elliott Bay. The move was seamless, her business thriving, Marcus saving lives. She's found a sense of home that has nothing to do with geography and everything to do with being valued for who she truly is. Her assistant texts, Wall Street Journal article about Johnson Ventures. Quote, Zara Johnson has proven that the most undervalued investment opportunities aren't stocks or bonds. They're the brilliant women that traditional investors have been ignoring for decades. Zara smiles at her reflection. Confident, successful, genuinely happy. Little resemblance to the woman who sat in that restaurant bathroom, listening to her husband call her a burden. That woman carried the weight of others' expectations. This woman is free to soar. The burden was lifted, and in its place was the invaluable knowledge that she had always been enough, exactly as she was. Jonathan had been wrong about everything. She wasn't dead weight. She was a force of nature who had simply needed permission to stop holding herself back. And now that she had learned to fly, there was no limit to how high she could go. 10. The ultimate lesson, from burden to beacon. Zara's journey is far more than a tale of revenge. It's a profound exploration of self-worth, the deceptive nature of appearances, and the immense power of financial independence. What can we truly take away from her incredible transformation? 1. Your worth is not negotiable, nor defined by others. The core of Zara's suffering stemmed from being undervalued and dismissed by the person who should have celebrated her most. Jonathan called her a burden and dead weight, stripping away her identity piece by piece. The lesson here is clear. Never let anyone else define your value. Your intelligence, your contributions, your very essence are inherent. They do not depend on someone else's recognition or approval, especially not from those who benefit from your diminishment. Zara's journey reminds us that sometimes the most profound act of self-love is walking away from those who continuously diminish your light. Chapter 2. Financial literacy and independence are non-negotiable forms of self-preservation. Zara's story is a powerful testament to the importance of understanding your finances, safeguarding your assets, and maintaining a degree of financial independence, even within a seemingly secure partnership. Her foresight in insisting on a prenuptial agreement and keeping significant assets in her own name was ultimately her fortress against utter ruin. This isn't about a lack of trust. It's about practical self-defense. For every Zara who had a prenup, there are countless Eleanors or Marias who, through trust or lack of awareness, found themselves financially vulnerable when betrayal struck. The lesson is to be an active participant in your financial life, know your worth, and protect what is yours, regardless of your relationship status. This protection extends beyond legal documents to cultivating your own skills, network, and income streams. 3. Betrayal reveals character, and consequences are inevitable. Jonathan's actions went beyond infidelity. They plunged into financial misconduct, embezzlement, and a systematic attempt to gaslight and control Zara. His eventual downfall wasn't Zara's doing out of spite, but the natural, inescapable consequence of his own choices. He squandered loyalty, betrayed trust, and built his entire life on a foundation of deceit. The story powerfully illustrates that while betrayal can inflict deep wounds, it also inevitably exposes the true character of the betrayer. And in the long run, Those who live by deceit will ultimately fall by it. Justice sometimes comes in the form of allowing people to reap what they sow. 4. Resilience, reinvention, and redefining success. Zara didn't just survive. She thrived. She channeled her hurt into purpose, transforming a personal betrayal into a professional triumph that empowered other women. She rebuilt her life not on the ashes of her marriage, but on the foundation of her rediscovered self-worth. Her journey is a beacon of hope, showing that devastating endings can be catalysts for spectacular new beginnings. Success, she learned, isn't about glittering accolades or a partner's approval. It's about authentic fulfillment, impact, and freedom. It's about building a life that truly reflects who you are, rather than who you were expected to be. Zara Johnson's story resonates deeply because it speaks to universal experiences of being underestimated, overlooked, and betrayed. But more importantly, it offers a powerful roadmap for reclaiming your narrative, rebuilding your life, and realizing your fullest potential. You are not a burden. You are a force. And when you recognize that, there's no limit to how high you can fly.